Hi, my name is Greg Knox and I'm the Executive Director of Skeena Wild Conservation Trust. And this is the first in-season fisheries update I'm doing for the North and Central Coast for 2021. It's July the 5th today, and I'll go through some of the North Coast systems, some of the information we have to date, and some of the fisheries information. So I'll start with just a general understanding of the forecasts, which are for returns of most species are supposed to be low across the North and Central Coast. And I did a video a few months ago, and you can check that out if you want more information on the specific forecast for each system. In terms of conditions right now, we're seeing very high water due to the extreme temperatures and a lot of snowmelt still coming off the hills. So that's impacting the ability to count fish in the Skeena and Nass and other places. That's been quite challenging. It's actually resulted in the shutdown of the Nass fish wheels and a couple days in the Tai test fishery at the mouth of the Skeena. So all this information is coming from Department of Fisheries and Oceans and from the Nisga'a-Lissam's Fisheries program. So I want to talk about, before I get into the specific updates, a recent announcement from the Fisheries Minister about widespread closures to the commercial fishing fleet. And this was quite surprising news. It's a result of the climate change issues we've been seeing with salmon in recent years. Really, we've been experiencing a crisis throughout British Columbia and in a lot of other places around the globe in terms of salmon numbers. And it's really gotten to a point where the Department of Fisheries and Oceans is being forced to shut down a lot of fisheries. And this is of course concerning and quite sad, because a lot of people depend on these fish for food and recreation, but also, commercial fishermen make a living and feed their families from it. So we're really saddened to see these closures, but certainly understand the situation is not good and something needed to be done. So in terms of closures affecting the North and Central Coast, there's the Nass gillnet sockeye fishery is being closed. The Nass Chinook gillnet fishery has been closed. The Skeena Chinook gillnet fishery has been closed. North and Central Coast coho troll fisheries have been closed. The Kitimat chum gillnet fishery has been closed. The Central Coast chum fisheries have been closed. Haida Gwaii pink and chum gillnet fisheries have been closed. And Rivers and Smith Inlet sockeye have been closed. And we've been told that these will be permanent closures for a long time until we can rebuild the runs. So moving on to the Skeena River, the Chinook forecast is well below its long-term average, about less than half of its long-term average, and it's been tracking low to date, but picking up a bit in the last couple of days, so maybe that can bring us a bit of hope. It's also, the counting conditions have been poor due to the high water, as I mentioned. For Skeena sockeye, there's been 1.7 million forecasts to return to the Skeena this season. An average return is around 2.5 million, so below average, but still enough to trigger commercial and recreational fisheries. It started off pretty low, but has picked up in the last few days. So hopefully we'll see a decent number showing up, which could trigger commercial fisheries later in July and recreational fisheries in the Skeena in late July or August. For pinks, chums, and coho, it's still too early to have any good forecasts. They're forecast to be low generally, but we could see some surprises. In terms of fisheries, the Skeena sport fishery in river has been closed, and the commercial gillnet fishery has been closed, as I mentioned. There could be some fisheries for sockeye in the commercial and rec fisheries. There are food fisheries that are taking place, mostly on the ocean right now. The river's been so high that it hasn't really been conducive to food fishing. Moving on to the Nass system. For Nass Chinook, the current run size estimate by Nisga'a Fisheries is 15,000, and that's also the target number of Chinook they want to see into the Nass River. So that's that's fairly low. By now, about half the run should be in the river. And for Nass sockeye, the current run size estimate is 225,000, which is low. The target is about 230,000. And to date, about a quarter of the sockeye should be into the river. Of course, there's been challenges with counting fish, so hopefully the return's actually higher than what they're currently predicting. For coho and steelhead in the Nass, it's still too early to get any real numbers on those. In terms of fisheries, as I mentioned, the gillnet sockeye fishery is now closed. The Seine pink fisheries are expected in July. Those would be big Seine fisheries targeting pink salmon. The low returns of Chinook and sockeye into the Nass currently, if that continues, that could impact sport fisheries and food fisheries in the Nass. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. In terms of other North Coast systems, it's still pretty early. For Central Coast, there have been a couple of openings for Bella Coola targeted Chinook. So in the Bella Coola, kind of out to Bella Bella area. And they had half decent catches of Chinook salmon, but poor catches of chum salmon. And the department has now closed all the commercial chum fisheries for the Central Coast area. For Southeast Alaska, there's fisheries taking place just north of the border, which give us some indication of returns coming here because our fish swim through Southeast Alaska and are caught in those fisheries. For commercial catches of sockeye, Chinook, chum, and coho are all well below average. Pink catches have been okay to date. So that's an update. As we move further into the season, I'll have more information. We'll put out another update in a few weeks. But in terms of yourself, please stay informed. Share this video around. Make sure before you go fishing, you check the fisheries notices on the DFO website to ensure fisheries are open and what the quotas are. Please be conservative in your catch. Generally, we've been seeing really low returns, which is triggering these closures, and we all need to do our part. And please try to target healthy returns and species. So look for where we're getting decent numbers showing up and try to target those fish. So thank you. I will be back in a few weeks, and if you have any questions, please contact info@skinawild.org or greg.k@skinawild.org. Thanks.